Katie Barlow is a lawyer, journalist, and host of the internet audio program called Words Matter. Katie, I have to tell you, I like the name of that program, Words Matter, because words really do matter. Let me go on to last night's town hall style event that we saw from these two men. Clearly very different vibes. I don't know about you, but I was going back and forth during commercials. What did you make of the tone?
Well, as Dan laid out in his opening there, the tone was very different for both of them. We saw a typical presidential Biden give long policy answers, sometimes a bit too long, and as some would say, a bit boring. But some would also appreciate the leadership style that he demonstrated. Others also appreciated that Trump was willing to push back on Savannah Guthrie at certain things. He was bombastic. He did try to argue with her at several points, and he refused to disavow QAnon and refused to acknowledge some news headlines that we've seen, like his taxes and money that he may owe to foreign banks. So it's what we've seen from both candidates. It's just they were in two different places this time, so they couldn't interrupt each other as much.
Clearly, it was a notable moment when Savannah Guthrie, the moderator, asked President Trump about whether he's going to denounce this very bizarre group that was also in Jim's package. He mentioned it, QAnon. Does that really matter, though? I mean, if you are a Donald Trump supporter in his base, what he said really makes a difference at this point. What, less than 3 weeks before the election?
No, Atya, and I honestly think that last night probably didn't make too much of a difference on anything. I know that they said that there were undecided voters. I find that hard to believe at this point because we know everything that we can about both candidates. They've been a huge part of the public eye for most of their adult lives, and they've been on the campaign trail for a while at this point. Everybody knows what they think, what type of leader they will be. I suspect the cake is baked. And no matter what happens last night or next week, if there is a debate between the two of them on the same stage, it won't make much of a difference in the votes that get cast on November 3rd. And as we know, the ones that are already being cast across the country.
Watching Biden, Katie, what did you think were the high moments for him, or the high points, or his best moments?
I think when he relates with individuals about their story, particularly their trauma or past pain, that's really where Biden excels as an individual because it humanizes him as a candidate, and juxtaposes from the sometimes long policy wonk type explanations that he gives. But I do think that it's fair for the voters and as the host did to continue to push back on what he believes about this court packing option. We all know that, as Senator Cory Booker said this week during the confirmation hearings, the goose is cooked. Amy Coney Barrett will become Justice Amy Coney Barrett before November 3rd on Election Day. And so it's fair for the voters to understand and to know what Biden thinks and will do in response to the fact that President Trump will have put 3 Supreme Court justices on the United States Supreme Court in only 4 years.
And let me briefly, you touched on next week's debate. Are we going to see the same kind of train wreck we saw a few weeks ago between these two men?
Well, that depends on 2 things. And first, it depends on if there will actually even be a debate, because reporting coming out of Biden's campaign says that they are demanding a negative COVID test from the president, and I believe from folks around him before they get on stage with him. And whether or not the Trump campaign will agree to that is yet to be seen. So I'm not even certain that there will be a debate next Thursday. But if we do, the second thing will depend on whether or not the moderator, Kristen Welker, has the ability to cut off the mics. And if she doesn't have that ability, then I suspect that we will see the exact same performance that we saw a couple of weeks ago, where they'll be talking over each other once again.